Man United came back from 2-0 down to beat Nottingham Forest 3-2 in a game that, in my opinion, had one of the most controversial penalty decisions I have seen this season. Manchester United get a very soft penalty, if you want to call it soft. Now, Nottingham Forest played well in this game, and even after going 3-2 down against United, they still had some opportunities, and they gave it their all. And the quality of the two sides showed here. Nottingham Forest were very good on the counter, and that was probably the best game that they could have hoped to play against Manchester United. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that they would be 2-0 up after 5 minutes at Old Trafford. And if this was any other team in the league, you would have thought that they might go on to win this game. We were able to see Nottingham Forest's ability to counterattack, and Awoniyi is extremely lethal in these positions. He did the same thing against Arsenal, and congratulations to him. I think this is 7 games in a row that he's now scored. He joins an illustrious group of people. I think Thierry Henry's on there. Of course, Jamie Vardy, who has the record for scoring in 11 straight games, is there. Alan Shearer is there. The great Ian Wright is there. Kudos to Arsenal, we do what we do. But Awoniyi is a very good player. Hopefully he's not just going through a goal spurt, but he has been playing very well for the team. And his capability to counterattack against teams, he does not look like a very pacey player. Maybe because he has a huge build and is pretty husky, but he can move. He is a very fast player. And more often than not, he always seems to beat the last man that he races against. And Marcus Rashford, who had initially lost the ball and tracked him back as he tried to prevent him to score, had a tough time trying to keep up with him. So he is a very, very deceptively fast player. Nottingham Forest were not able to hold on to their lead long enough. United came back and, brought the game to 2-1. And as you would expect, I've seen time and time again that these types of games always hinge on how strong the team is at home and how well they can try and fight back. Now, I didn't watch the game. I only saw the highlights. And I remember glancing at my phone while I was watching the Arsenal game at halftime and saw that United were 2-1 down. I just had this thought in my head, this game is going to end 3-2. It just looks like that classic type of game where Manchester United, or even if it was an Arsenal or a Manchester City or a Liverpool or even a Chelsea, would rally back and win this, especially when they are facing one of the teams that you expect to be always fighting against the drop. Now, it doesn't happen every time. I do remember this one time when Wigan scored 2 early goals against Arsenal. I believe it was around 2012 or 2013, and Wigan were able to hold on to that lead right up until the end. They ended up winning the game 2-1, and they needed to win that game. But more often than not, Manchester United are good for these types of wins. I can recall Jose Mourinho being the manager and Manchester United having to fight back from 2-0 down against Crystal Palace to win 3-2. I can recall Manchester United having to fight back against Tottenham back in the day. The very famous "Lads, it's Tottenham" quote from Alex Ferguson. Now, Tottenham was not a relegation side, but you know what I mean. Big teams show up in big moments. And regardless of the fact that I vehemently disagree with the decision to award a penalty, either way, this sets Manchester United up well for their game against Arsenal as far as the scoreline goes. But as far as their first 3 games, they have not been convincing whatsoever. Their win against Wolverhampton Wanderers was extremely lucky. Their loss against Tottenham, and in this game, Nottingham Forest were probably due a point. But as is the pull of Old Trafford, Manchester United rallied back to win. Next week is going to be a very tough challenge for them. They go to Arsenal, who, on the back of yesterday's result, we don't know what kind of Arsenal we're going to see. Are they going to be the jittery Arsenal that drew against Fulham yesterday, or has struggled to beat Crystal Palace and were dominant but not very convincing towards the end against Nottingham Forest? We don't know what kind of Arsenal is going to show up. I hope that, as an Arsenal fan, their mentality will be a little bit more gung-ho, and they will want to go at United right from the get-go and try to knock them off their stride as fast as they can. But as usual, in these types of games, Manchester United will be formidable opponents. And we saw last season when Arsenal had to come back from a goal down to eventually win 3-2. When you face another top level team, the game is always on the balance. And Manchester United will be raring to go for that type of game. As far as Nottingham Forest, they have showed that they have the ability to survive. And the more I see them play, the more cohesion they build within their team. I do think that Nottingham Forest might be able to evade the drop again this season. If what they need to do is to make sure that whenever they face teams in and around them, they need to make sure that they keep winning those types of games. You need to win your 50-50 games. Whoever are going to be majority of their opponents that they face for a mid-table or a bottom of the table scrap, they need to make sure that they don't lose leads like they did yesterday. It's understandable against a team like Manchester United, but it won't be understandable against a team like a Fulham or a team like a Burnley. You will need to take your opportunities and make sure that you remain solid at the back. So the big problem that I think Nottingham Forest have right now is definitely defensively, because attacking wise, they are scoring goals. They just need to make sure that they shut up shop behind them. Matt Turner is really showing up for them. He is making some good saves. I think Nottingham Forest have the capacity to survive. Manchester United, I just don't know what to make of them right now, simply because they are not playing well, but they are getting results. Now, the Tottenham game, you can argue, is a team that's going to be pushing them for that top 4 position. Tottenham are buoyant right now with a new manager, facing different challenges in trying to adapt without Harry Kane, but they seem to be doing it well. So as far as Man United are concerned, they need to find some better team chemistry around them. I do think that it would be important once they bring in Rasmus Højlund into the team to try and make sure that they make him the focal point of them trying to attack the league. But that's all I got for right now, guys. It's your boy Izzy. We are going to be talking about some more games. I still haven't reviewed some of the games that took place yesterday. I just thought I'd get on here and give you guys my thoughts about the Manchester United and Nottingham Forest game that I feel Nottingham Forest were robbed. Not because of the red card, but because that was not a penalty. Now, would Manchester United have scored eventually? Quite possibly, but just not in that instance. That was definitely not a penalty. But that's all I got for right now, guys. Until the next video, peace.